Good morning, boys and girls. I'm so glad you have joined us for our fourth Advent devotion. So, we have so far talked about hope and peace and joy, and this week we're going to talk about love. So, if you have been following us these last few weeks, you know how this goes. We'll have our short devotion, and then we'll talk about the craft that's also in your kit that you can do along with me. So let us start on our devotion. This week, now remember the Christmas story when the angels came to the shepherds in the fields, and the shepherds heard that Jesus was born, and they went to go and meet Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus. So that's what the part of the story I want you to think about is that night in the stable when Mary has just had a new baby and Joseph's there and they've been traveling for a long time. I want you to think about how tired they must have felt and how maybe alone because they weren't in their hometown, maybe even scared. And then I want you to think about the confusion they might have felt when all of these random shepherds and their sheep just started showing up. So I want you to kind of picture that in your head as we talk about that. So have you ever looked forward to an event for a really long time and imagined in your head how it would go, only for it not to happen the way you expected? So maybe it was a family vacation. Maybe you went to summer camp and it wasn't as great as you thought it would be, or the first day of school, or school this year since you haven't been able to go for like 9 months. So it's easy to feel disappointed when things don't happen the way that we want them to go. And you might get lost in your expectation. You might feel frustrated or even close your heart to what is happening unexpectedly instead of noticing the wonderful experiences around you. So in this story, Mary's baby was born and placed in a manger. Animals, hay, and strangers surrounded him. Then, as they were trying to rest, a whole group of sweaty shepherds came traipsing in to meet Jesus and Mary. This is probably not in any way how Mary imagined Jesus being born. She could have looked at the shepherds and said, "No, no, no, this isn't happening this way," and sent them on their way. Instead, she chose to open her heart and invite them in. She chose to listen to their amazing story about meeting angels and tell them her own amazing story. And because she chose to be open, the shepherds left to share this good news with everyone. And Mary was able to hold the experiences she could never have imagined inside her heart. So, what do you do when things don't go the way you planned? When you feel nervous or afraid and the ground feels like it's shaking beneath your feet? Do you lock your heart up tight? Sometimes people lock their hearts because they think it's going to protect them. They lock out strangers who might become friends. They lock out different places that might become places where they belong. The problem with locking your heart is that it doesn't really protect you. It keeps out all that love you didn't think to imagine. When Mary opened her heart to the unexpected, she chose love. Choosing love transformed her heart, and it also transformed the world. She shared her love with strangers who became friends, and those friends chose to share the message of love with everyone they met. This is what happens when you open your heart and you choose love. You can't help but share a message of love. So I want you to think about this question, and maybe if you're watching this with your mom or dad or your brothers or sisters, you can talk about this. Can you think of a time when things didn't go the way you expected and you felt afraid? I bet a lot of us have a lot of things that did not go the way we expected this year. And maybe that made you afraid because you heard all the stories of a scary virus and why we can't go to school and why we can't meet at church. But how did you handle all of that unexpected events? Did you choose love? Did you choose to look at the new school year on the computer with love, with that it's keeping you safe and keeping your teachers safe and your friends safe? If you did, I want you to tell your family about that. And if you didn't, I want you to imagine what might be different if you had chosen love. And it doesn't have to be about school. It can be about anything that didn't go the way you expected. Maybe you thought you were going to get to go on a vacation and that didn't happen. Or maybe you thought you were going to get a special present for your birthday and you didn't get exactly what you were expecting. So I want you to think about one of those times and I want you to share that with your family. All right, so this week's activity, you need the sheet, and I've already done mine, so I can't show you what it looks like. You need the sheet that has a big triangle and then lots of little like treasures on it, and it has a big circle that says choose love. So that's what I want you to find and go ahead and color, and you're gonna cut out all those pieces. You're also gonna need to find in your packet that brown piece of paper that I put in there. So what you're going to do with that brown piece of paper is you're going to take it and you're going to fold down. Here, let me show you mine. You're going to fold down the two corners, kind of like you're about to make a paper airplane. I know most of you know how to do that. So you're going to make a crease. And then you're going to take the bottom part and you're going to fold it up just about a third of the way and put a little piece of tape on each side so you make like an envelope. Okay, and then you're going to fold the little pointy part down so it makes like a fancy envelope, or you could think of it as a treasure box. And then the triangle shape that you've colored and cut out, you can glue or tape to the pointy part so it makes like the envelope. All right, so this is like our treasure box. And all of those little pieces that you colored and cut out, we can put inside our treasure box. So you have a heart. You have this. Does anybody know what this symbol is? You may have seen it last week in our service when we talked about Chrismons. So this is called a Trinity knot, and it's 3 circles that when they're drawn together create one knot. So you can put that in your treasure box. There's another heart that you can color. See, there's a little moon shape. There's a little star. There's a little diamond. And there's a big circle. I cut mine out a little differently, but that says choose love. So I want you to put all those little treasures in your treasure box. And this is to remind you that when we choose love, we get so much more in return. So that. And also we have our coloring sheet this week. And this is the one you see Mary and you see her holding baby Jesus. And we have all of these Advent words: love, hope, joy. We also have fear and worry. So I think the reason those words are with hope and joy and love is that sometimes when those unexpected things, like when Mary had to have Jesus in a stable with a bunch of animals and hay and strangers came to visit her, she might be a little worried and like maybe a little bit afraid, but she also chose love and she had hope and joy. So you can color your coloring sheets. Since this is the fourth Sunday of Advent, we are not going to do the last devotion in your guide, but I hope you will do it with your family on Christmas Eve or even Christmas Day, whenever your family has time together. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the 2 little crafts for that day when you can do it. So here's the coloring sheet for that day. It says, do not be afraid. And it shows the shepherds and the stable and Mary and Joseph and Jesus and all the people there with them. All right, so you can color that. And then the craft is going to take you some time. So, you might need to start it before Christmas if you want to have it finished by then. So there's 4 sheets in your packet that you're going to color, and then you cut the margins out and you tape it all together. And when you do that, you create this really big poster. And you can see where mine are all taped together. And your poster, when you finish it all, says, "Dear God, we trust you are with us in this year and always. When fear grows in us and around us, help us to remember we can hold hope, bring peace, practice joy, and choose love. Amen." So let's end this time together with a short prayer. Dear God, thank you for loving each one of us no matter what. Choosing love can be hard, especially when we are anxious or frustrated. Give us the courage to open our hearts and choose love even when it's not easy. Amen. So I hope you've enjoyed these 4 devotion times we've had together. And I hope you've enjoyed doing your crafts and your coloring sheets. So I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. And I will see you in the new year. All right. Bye, kids.